Hey there everyone and welcome back to the React.js training. Now in this video, let's get back on to the stage where we are learning the things. We have done quite a few projects in the full scale apps, and yes, in the future we'll do even more. Now let's get back to the project 6 where we are going to learn about the React routing. Now, before we proceed on to the React routing, let me just explain you one thing, that React was never meant for the routing purpose. It's just a view library in the model view controller. It just stands for the V, means view. It's never responsible for the routing purpose. But this doesn't mean we don't have the routing capabilities. We can add some third-party modules and can do routing. So let's do some routing in here. So I'll create a new directory here. Obviously, you can do that via simple graphical stage as well, but I like to proceed with the terminal. So project 6 is there, and let's go into the project 6 and let's create a React app. So create dash React app, and we're gonna call this as simple route app. You can call it anything. I'll just like to call it as route app. Now as soon as I do this, now it's gonna take a few seconds in here. Now till the meantime it's taking some things, I would like you to go on to the browser and do a quick search on the React dash router. And what we are looking for is this guy, React training React dash router. And the reason why I'm doing this is not giving you the direct link because links may change somehow, and what we are looking up is already on the Google. So going through the Google way is best option. So this is the router that we'll be using, and again everything is mentioned in here as well, but you don't need to read much of that because I'll be explaining the things. And all we have to do is npm install -- save react dash router. So it's going to install the React libraries for us, and we can be working on the React. Now before we proceed on, let me tell you the quick two-step that will not make much sense in here, but it will follow up as soon as you will try to write the React routers. Now the two-step is really simple. 1, define your route. 2, call the children. I know this doesn't make sense. I'll repeat that again. 1, define your route. 2, call the children's. So this is the only step that you have to remember, and you will never ever fail into the routing process. So at the bottom in here, this is basically the router which is going on. Apart from this, this is just a component definition, and it's a previous method or old-fashioned way of defining the React classes. So react.create classes, you may see these kinds of example quite a lot, but we don't have to use them. So first thing would be import the React router and everything like browser history, link, route, and router. And then simply define your route and call the children. And right now it's not saying, here it is. This is how we call the children. So define your route and call the children. That's all you have to do. And let's try to see if the things have installed for us. Right now it's not has been installed. So with the magic of video editing, let me quickly install everything in here. Okay, so now everything is set up for us. cd route app and npm start. So let's first of all do a route dash app. Now obviously we want to install one more thing in here, and that would be this guy. So you can just copy and paste this, or you can write that as well, no big deal. So let's just write it in here. That is pretty solid. And we're gonna say npm. Make sure that you are into the route app. Without this, it's not gonna work. And when you do a ls, you should be able to see this package.json, because this save is actually going to save everything into the package.json. I hope you get that. npm install. There are a couple of ways to install, but this is actually easier one. So -- save, and we're gonna do a react dash router, and it's fairly a small library and shouldn't take much, but it's a fairly small. So there we go, we have done that. Okay, now next obvious step would be open up this project 6. So file, open. I have got my atom on my desktop, and exercise react project 6 route app, and there we go. Open up, and just to be double sure, open up your package.json, and in the dependencies, React router should be mentioned there. Okay, in case not, there are high chances it's going to be there, but in case it's not there, make sure that you run it again. Okay, now that is good. Now what we can do is npm start, and things should be good. Okay, now let's make this as a routing app there, so I can minimize this guy. This is going to be there, and there we go. We'll just keep align the things there so that we can see what is happening in there. And this looks good in here. Just rearranging a few things because I don't have screen real estate there. And now go into the app.js, which is here. And what I want you to do is simply remove this paragraph. We don't need that. Save that and welcome to React Router class. And whatever we'll be doing, this black guy at the top is actually beautiful, and we'll just keep it in here. Now, the next thing in order to define a router is, first of all, we need to call a couple of routers and all of these things. So first of all, what I would say is go into your index.js file, which is in here. And notice it's in here. So the first thing that we'll be doing is copy and pasting a few things. So what we need is the first line in here. So this line, this is the line. So copy this in from here and paste it in here because we want to import the React libraries and classes. So we are importing router, route, link, browser history from React Router. Now, although we don't need link in here, so we'll just remove this. We'll need the link at a different position. Save that. That is good. Now, the next step in order to call the router is to remove this app and just replace it with the router. So I'll make a couple of lines of space for me. And in place of app, the first thing that you're going to do is call the router. Okay, now right now in here it's a self-closing tag, but it should not be self-closing because we need to do a couple of things. So basically we are replicating the things in from here. So the next thing is you need to define a property that is history equals browser history. So that is really required. And obviously we are going to close our router as well. So we are going to simply say router need to be closed. Okay. So that's the thing number one that we have done so far. We don't need it now. And the first thing that we'll be doing is defining the slash path. So let's just do that. And how we define that is there would be just routers inside the route. Okay, or basically I'm saying is route inside the router. So we have got our router. Inside this, we are going to define a route. So we are going to simply say, oops, route. What I'm writing in here is route. Okay. And it should be a self-closing or maybe a close by anything. That doesn't really means in here. And there we go. Okay, so that's the step number one. Now inside here, we'll define a couple of props there. First of all, the path. What should be the path? So I'll say define an equal there, a slash. Where should this slash path or default path should take you to? Next thing that you define is component. Okay. Now in this case, the component should take us to app. Now what is this app? Now this app is this app.js. So we are defining this class name in here. Okay. So this should take you to there. Now obviously this is not going to affect anything in our application. If I just reload, it just should just do exactly same things. Or in fact, if I do a slash there, it should give us exactly the same thing. Okay. Now, right now, we haven't done anything extraordinary there. Now, in the next video, we are going to create some components and we are going to define their routes or the paths. And then we are going to follow up and proceed on to further. If you are with me along with this, that's really great. Pat a thing on your back and we should be good to go. So let's go into the next video.